Zach.
Basketball. Swimming. Football. These are just some of the many sports that athletes all over the globe put their hardest efforts into.
Against Pittsburgh, kick is blocked! Georgia Tech blocks it! The Jackets pick it up back.
Athletes, young and old, give it their all day and night, 24/7, to prove to the world that they are the best at what they do. By now, we already had a glimpse of the work professional athletes and college athletes put into being better. But what about the challenges that high school athletes have to overcome?
Okay, alright, so can you give us an introduction?
Hi, my name is Steven. I am 16 and I played small forward for the DC Cobras in the under 16 boys basketball division.
Yeah, so I'm Aditya. I'm 15 years old and I'm part of the badminton team in DC.
So my name is Mia Centerk. I'm a swimmer here at DC. I've been swimming since I came to DC, which was in year 7, and then I'm now in year 11, so I've been on the DC swim team for about 5 years.
Hi, my name's Zach Peter, and this year I was supposed to play for the U16 Cobras basketball team, and I'm 15 years old. I've lived in Hong Kong for two and a half years now, and yeah, I love sports.
What got you into your sport?
Well, coming from Canada, basketball isn't a main sport there. I played a lot more hockey and baseball, but when I moved here, hockey and baseball weren't as common, and it was really hard to get to places that do that. So, and the school has a basketball team. I thought it was a really easy way to get active, and also I really enjoy it.
So what originally got me into the sport was just doing it from a really young age, not necessarily competitively, but always having that skill. And I was kind of forced into doing it competitively by my parents, but I grew to love it, and it soon became my own choice to continue that sport.
Oh, wait, okay. I was about maybe 10 years old, and my dad used to play badminton when he was my age, and he just introduced me to a coach, and I tried around with the coach for maybe a week or two. I thought it was kind of fun, so that's when I got into it, with serious intentions. And I haven't actually skipped training once, and that's why I'm in the badminton team now.
What got me into my sport? It was a funny story. Back in primary 6, I believe, there was this basketball tournament that was held for our grade, and essentially, back then I wasn't really that much of a sporty kid. I'd actually say that I wouldn't grow up into sports, and well, I guess that was a lie. What happened was I just felt jealous of all my friends who were able to play the basketball tournament. I mean, I played in it, but then I wasn't that effective because I really didn't do any sports actually. The only sport I could do was badminton, and that was about it. That was nothing else. And after that, I decided that maybe I should try doing the sport of basketball. And yeah, from there it just came to me. I started playing more basketball, and felt that it's maybe the sport that I'm meant to do. I may not grow up to do it, but as of right now, I like playing the sport.
What motivates you to play competitive?
What motivates me is definitely the competition and definitely trying my best and always having that next level in every single thing that I do, because that is what swimming is essentially, is that it's a competition against yourself, for yourself, because you're just competing against yourself for that time and to get to a higher ranking than you did before. And it's really important to continue that stimulus even with the coronavirus. And that's what motivates me, is to achieve my goals and create goals that are not easily achievable for me, but are also a challenge. I think the challenge is definitely one of the things that draws me to swimming.
Well, as I said earlier, before I didn't really play basketball competitively. I just played hockey and baseball competitively. But right when I moved here, it was kind of the only sport that I was interested in that had a location. So all my focus went to basketball, and that's when I started to be more competitive and drive to get better.
What motivates me to play competitively is really because I work hard on a lot of things. Because I'm under a drama scholarship, so I work hard in performing, I work hard in my academics, and it really translates to what I do when I'm practicing basketball. I essentially work my ass off every time. So really the whole reason why I like playing competitively is because I really want to see how much I've improved, and by playing competitively, I'm able to see how much I've actually improved, and whether my hard work paid off or not. And that really is what motivates me to play competitively.
So there are mainly two things that make me want to compete. One of them is obviously my dad. He has a lot of expectations on me, so I want to fulfill that. And the other one is just, if I'm good at badminton, so I want to be as good as I can be. Probably, push myself to the very best I can. So a mindset while training is to not think about it too much, not be too stressed, and just try to play as natural as I can. However, in game situation, also I don't really think about winning or losing. It's more about just getting that 1 point. Think about the next point, and eventually you'll see yourself in the lead.
My general mindset in terms of training is really that you're never the best. And when I say that, I'm not saying it in a negative way. I mean that, and what I mean by you're never the best is that you may think you're the best already, but there's always gonna be someone out there that's better than you. And really, I'm not saying that you should compare yourself to others, but what I'm saying is it's good to know that you have ways to go. No matter how good you become at something, you'll always have something to improve on, and that's really what I come into whenever I come into training. Whenever I'm at training, I always think, what can I improve on today? What do I need to improve on? What more can I do to enhance my game? What can I do to help my teammates win more games? And that's really what that's really my mindset whenever I come into training.
Well, in terms of training, you should always be working 100% trying to get better. I'm very competitive and trying to get better whenever I'm dribbling basketball, whenever I'm playing. I'm never playing for fun or flaw. I usually just play seriously all the time. I'm always trying to get better. That's my mindset towards all kinds of training.
My general mindset in training is to always give the best performance I possibly can, because it's that performance in training that translates into competitions, and how that period of time you really have to focus on all aspects, because bad skills can lead to bad skills in a race, and good skills lead to good skills in a race. So I really have to focus on that and looking at what I can improve and what I can pinpoint to get the best possible result in training.
What challenges do you face as a student athlete?
As a student athlete, I really one of the biggest challenges that I face as a student athlete is really balancing my work in sports and balancing my work regularly. Because once again, as I mentioned earlier, I am under a drama scholarship, which means that not only do I have to put effort into my athletics, I actually have to put in effort to in the performing arts, and also my academics.
I mean, obviously one of the biggest challenges would be to manage school life, studies, assessments, exams, alongside with your training and tournaments, competitions, etc.
So one of the challenges I definitely faced from a younger age was having that balance and being able to distribute my time equally between swimming and being a student and having a social life outside of that.
One of the challenges a lot of student athletes face every day is to balance your sport with schoolwork. That's probably my main challenge because, of course, I love to play sports, but I also need to do well in all my classes.
And when it comes to that, it's really the big challenge with that is that sometimes it's a matter of like time conflict. When there's a game, I have a show that day. It's really a matter of what I'm willing to. Which one am I willing to commit? Am I more committed to being a part of the team, or am I more committed to something that I've loved since I was a child, which is performing? And that's probably one of the bigger challenges. And like compared to my classmates, I'm actually not like the richest, like or like the most free person in the world. And by that I mean like all my classmates, they have time to train because they have nothing. They have something to focus on. They want to focus on the sports, so they have time to like constantly train and stuff like that. And for me, I sometimes I don't really have that luxury. Coming from a family who's also constantly working to like bring me up continuously, I also have to work hard to prove that I'm worth being a part of the team, and also to like pay my parents essentially, and show them that what they're doing is all worth their time as well.
I do it by, I make a very scheduled plan, timetable.
I just have to make a strong schedule, stick to it.
Half of the day I spend on, studies. Part of the day is for, just fun activity. And a lot of it actually goes into my training. I do a lot of coaching and just footwork, anywhere I go, as much training as I can do, I'll do that.
Work hard, and then it shouldn't really be a problem.
And I feel like I've definitely grown to that more, and I've been able to prioritize and balance out the needs that I have. And one of the things that always stuck with me that my coach said is that he always stressed on that balance and being that athlete, but you are definitely a student first at DC because you do have rigorous academics as well as rigorous athletics, but athletics do come second. And that's how I've kind of developed that.
Why do you continue to push yourself?
So one of the reasons I continue to push myself is because I've always felt that need to always be better. I'm not a quitter. That's not something I've never been able to quit something that I loved or something that I like to do. Even when things get hard, I really do try and persevere and be resilient in that way, because when you do have a bad race or have an injury or are unable to compete for the whole season, you really have to look at the situation you're in and get up and do better than you possibly can before.
Do you feel the pressure to perform?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Well, yes, definitely, of course. Like who doesn't feel the pressure to perform?
I could speak for last year and the year before. I think I'm one of the stronger players on the team. I'm not always, you can't say who's the best and who's the worst, right? But I'm not just sitting on the bench doing nothing, right? I gotta contribute in that. And you know what, there is a bit of pressure there.
If you do, I envy you a lot because when it comes to basketball and playing against people that I've probably never met until like that game, there is a lot of pressure, and especially like kind of weird coming from someone who actively performs as a performing arts kid and someone who's been on stage. It is different. The thing is, they're both very different feelings in my opinion, and it is different because when you're on stage, you know you have to back up your team. You're not trying to compete, but at the same time, you want to be able to make the audience smile. You want to make the audience feel the emotions that you feel, and so that's a different type of pressure when it comes to basketball. the pressure is that you don't want to mess it up for your teammates. You want to be able to help your teammates.
As you get older in swimming and as you do better in competitions, you do feel that pressure from you mainly feel it internally, but I think you can also feel it externally from either peers because they expect you to do better, and your coaches because they
and like really the one thing that I've been able to retain between the performing arts and basketball is that really me being able to trust my teammates or my co-actors, me being able to trust every one of them to be alongside me as we face these challenges together, and really that really helps me when overcoming that pressure.
But I think the more that you play and the more that you practice, pressure's just gonna go away. But right now, yeah, there is a bit of pressure.
Why do you continue to push yourself?
I continue to push myself because obviously no one likes failing, no one likes to lose, and winning gives a really good feeling, so I want to win as much as I can. So that's why I train as hard as I can. And as mentioned before, you know, my parents have a big expectation. I don't want to let them down, and I don't want to let myself down. That's why I train hard and push myself.
of course ultimately want the best for you, but also the best for you is definitely that good result and that better result than before. And I think to a point where it does make yourself your worst critic, because I can definitely be quite hard on myself, especially now because I'm really competitive and I really want to get to that next level and be that better swimmer and better athlete in general.
Well, really, I push myself continuously every day because I want to be better. That's all there is. If you don't want to strive to be better than you already are, then why would you still try? Like, I push myself every day whenever I'm out on the court. I push myself to like become better, because not only is it good for my teammates that I become better, but it's also good for myself that like I know that I'm making progress, and I know that I'm not just wasting my own time doing this kind of stuff. And really I feel like it'll become a really nice memory of mine once I leave high school, that I used to be a basketball player, or I used to be like a basketball player who was good, and that, you know, it's a good memory because then you can like tell your kids eventually that, hey, your dad played basketball in high school and he won, so you know, that's mostly why I push myself.
What's your opinion on student athletes?
Well, there's my opinion on student athletes.
They are definitely one of the more balanced groups of students in the school.
I have a lot of respect for all student athletes because I know how hard it can be to manage both sports and studies at the same time, especially on school life. There's so much more that's happening, so I have a lot of respect for every single one of them for pushing as hard as they can while doing everything else in their life.
They've definitely learned to prioritize, and they've learned skills from a young age and been able to build on those skills that I don't think people who don't do athletics can build easily. And I think they also have been able to be really resilient in terms of bouncing back from a difficult situation and coming forward, and they're also very competitive. So
There's different kind of student athletes, right? There's student athletes that just do schoolwork and do like a sport for fun, and they're not really trying hard, they're not trying to get better, they're not working their tail off every day. There's also student athletes that are a lot more motivated, that just work really, really hard all the time.
they always want to be at the top of their class or the top of their game anyway.
And those are the student athletes I really respect for sure.
It doesn't really matter if it's in the pool, on the field, on the ice rink, or in the classroom.
This might sound really repetitive, but I have some of the biggest respect for student athletes, and not because they can play sports, but because they're probably one of the most hardworking people. And yes, people can work hard in different areas, and yeah, I've seen many, especially when in the performing arts side, I've seen many people who worked hard in their craft. But in my opinion, those who, like, if you have not seen a student athlete train, you'll not realize how hard they actually work behind the scenes. Many athletes are gifted, many athletes are naturally talented, but those who, like myself, actually, I believe that myself, I'm not the most gifted basketball player. I'm not naturally born with the ability to play, but I work day and night to improve my skills with the time that I have, and especially, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who does that. There are a lot of athletes who are just really invested into the game, that they're willing to work their asses off just to be able to play the game well. And in my opinion, that's why these kind of athletes are the most respectable, in my opinion. And that's why there's some things that you can learn from being a student athlete, and those can really help you eventually as you grow older.
So my advice for other student athletes, or want to be student athletes, would be, first of all, make a timetable. Be very clear on how much time you want to spend studying and how much time you want to train for sports. And the other thing I'd want to say is, in-game situation, don't think about winning and losing. Only think about getting the next point, scoring the next basket or goal, and eventually you'll see yourself win.
My advice to student athletes is really don't be deterred by anyone. Don't feel underestimated. Don't be persuaded not to play this sport. Don't play any sport actually, or do any sport. Don't feel like people are right when they say that you're not good, because back when I first started, I didn't even know how to do a layup. I couldn't even dribble properly. I couldn't do a crossover. I didn't even know what a crossover was. And many people have told me that I shouldn't be playing the sport, that I should just give up. But if you just give in there, you'll never know what you're able to do, and you'll just never know what you're capable of. And if you don't try, what then did you really like the sport to begin with? And really it just applies to everything in life. You just don't give up. Don't settle for anything else.
I think the most important thing is to just stay motivated, keep your eye on the goal, and never give up. And if you keep practicing, you're gonna improve. But also, you're a student athlete. You're a student and an athlete, so you also have to stay completely focused on your schoolwork. And don't make any bad decisions. Fully try hard on your sport, and also make an impact as a student as well. And if you can balance that really well, I think you can be very successful.
The advice that I would give is definitely learn how to prioritize from a young age. I said that I struggled with that before, and I definitely 100% have, but I've learned to grow with that skill and learn more about it, and it does take some planning, but it also takes goal setting, of understanding and having a good perception of who you are and where you want to be as an athlete and where you want to be as a student, because that is the fundamental goal of it all.
And I can't say this enough. You just have to keep working and just keep working hard. Show people who underestimate you, who tell you you can't, show them that you can. And really, not only will that just prove to the people that you can do anything that you put your mind to, it'll also show yourself that you are far more capable than you think you are. It's good for your confidence, it's good for really your mental state as well. And just take it from me. Just take it from me, my word. I know how that feels. And so that's really my advice to student athletes. Thank you.
Sick.
That's good. Thank you for participating.
Welcome.
Okay. Okay.
afterwards then.
And there's a frog.